Now, Sandy, qualifying for Crufts is a real problem. It's very difficult.
Oh yes, Peter. Before you can come to Crufts, you have to win through 5 classes. And then actually to qualify for Crufts, you have to win a Championship C class outright, losing not more than 10 points.
So the 5 classes that they have to win in the first place, that gets them to Championship class.
That's
then
correct.
They have to win a Championship.
That's right.
Right,
that's
so they're
right.
all terrific winners who are here. There are no losers.
Yes. Oh, no. They've worked very hard and they've travelled many, many miles to come here and walk on the green carpet.
Right, so on the green carpet then, who do you fancy out of this year's competitors?
Well, I think Heather Woodford with Kelly, Phil Jeffries with Wimpy, and Binny Iggulden with her lovely little bitch Bliss.
All right, well, back to the commentary box and let's see if you're right.
And there is the green carpet on which the obedience tests have to be performed. 6 of them: heel work, send away, retrieve, distant control, 2 forms of stay with the handlers out of sight, 1 at the sit, 1 at the down, and scent discrimination. And we're going to start with a look at the heel work, where the handlers and dogs have to perform at slow, normal and fast pace and take the various positions as instructed by the stewards. And it's a very difficult and long exercise,
It is
Sandy.
a difficult exercise. That was the first position, the down, which is correct.
About turn and collect.
The judge, Paula Ackery, is looking for the dog to hold a constant heel position, which this one is, and also the handler would be penalised if she gave extra commands or signals during the test.
I think probably a lot of lay people feel that obedience looks terribly serious because the handlers never smile, they never pat the dogs whilst they're working at all, but they'd lose marks if they did.
Well, they're only allowed to give a command at the beginning of the exercise. I see that handler's given the wrong position there. It should have been the stand. And that dog's done the sit.
So they lose points for that. Now, there are 300 points available to lose during the entire obedience test. But if they lose more than 10, they can't be champions, can they?
No, they can't be champions. But over the years, since that rule was made, the standard has increased, and there are a lot of more good dogs at the top. And there is a proposal to change that rule to 15 points. This is Barbara Iggulden with Bliss again. Beautiful heel work, this, lovely.
Now, this ought to be the sit that's coming.
Yes, that's right. Oh dear.
About turn.
Done and down.
She's
Look
not
at
happy,
Vinny's
is she?
face.
Oh,
and the
dear.
dog knows as well. Look
About
at the
turn and
dog.
collect.
What a shame. Was going beautifully until then.
Well, the heel work is a very long test and it is fairly complicated to follow. The send away, on the other hand, is rather straightforward. The dogs are sent from one side of the ring to the other and they have to drop right in the centre of that box. That's all there is to it. It's harder than it looks.
Well, it's very difficult for the handler to judge when to drop the dog, especially the fast dog, and also you've got a back marker there which will draw on the dog. Here we have Sylvia Mitchell with obedience champion Mitch's Chase.
And the fast dog.
Oh yes, this is a super dog. And you see, she just can't put the brakes on in time and is
Handler
overshot,
forward.
but in my opinion, a super send away.
So this would definitely suit the steadier
Boy
dog.
dog.
A dog that moves slowly across the ring is likely to drop in the right place, whereas a fast worker like that really has no chance with that.
Well, you can't stop it in
Towards
time, and
me.
you've also got to judge when to give the command. And the dog is running at quite a speed.
Let's see now, we take a look at
Thank
the
you,
same
Martin.
exercise, this time with a dog that moves a little bit slower.
Yes, this is Ray Rogerson with obedience champion Zoe's Girl. Ray comes from Wakefield. This bitch is 6 years old, and she is a steadier type of dog.
Of course, the box is so well marked.
No problem, you see. It's so much easier to
Handler
control the
forward.
steadier dog.
And there's no danger of them not going to the right place with those little Christmas
Boy
trees on
dog.
the edge.
No, it's very clearly marked. This is the recall from the send away.
Towards me.
Of course, the exercise isn't finished until the steward says so, is it?
No, that's right. Now we're looking at Binny again. Slowing down slightly, you see, so it's easier to drop. In other words, we call it
Handler
anticipating
forward.
the drop.
But not losing marks for it?
Boy
Oh,
Perhaps.
that depends on the judge.
Of course, you yourself run a rather fast dog, so this wouldn't suit you, this particular send away.
It's not my
Towards me.
cup of tea, no, Peter.
Last man. And
On to
throw.
the retrieve now then. Very straightforward yet again. An object is thrown by the handler, the dog has to go and get it.
Yes, this is Maureen Alcock from the West Midlands with Kirsty, a team that always does well at Crufts.
Take it.
Present
Finish.
looks okay. Maybe that's a crooked sit.
Thank
Yes,
you. Will you
yes
give
it
your
is.
And that can be, what, half a mark gone?
Yep, yep.
Now, the retrieve object can be anything that the judge decides. In
ready?
this case, she's
Last
chosen a
one.
little rubber snowman. It's a fairly
Answer.
easy object for the dogs to pick up.
Yes, that's a straightforward object. This is Sandra Johnson from Dundee with her Tervuren. This bitch is 7 years old. That's a very untidy pick-up. It grabbed at that article then.
So the style of picking up is important. They'll lose marks.
Oh yes, they will. It has to be a neat, clean
Take it.
pick-up.
Harsh
Finish.
stuff.
Well, it's the dog that does it perfectly that's the winner. Bit of a slow sit there as well on the finish.
So the
Thank
speed
you. Will
also.
you give your
All these
articles to the
things
judge,
can mark
please?
against.
Oh yes, yeah.
Another competitor from
Are you
Scotland, a
ready?
little girl called
Last
Caroline
one.
Cease with Free Birds
Answer.
Free Racer.
Yes, Caroline's had a marvellous introduction to
Sent.
obedience. She's only been competing 3 years with this bitch, and it's gone from beginners to Championship C, and in its first year qualified to come to Crufts.
Marvellous.
Nice present.
Take it.
Oh, perhaps a little bit laid on actually.
Finish.
It's just a fraction too close.
Yep, that's right.
On to distant control now, and it always amazes me that handlers and dogs can do distant control in this noisy ring. There are so many people watching, but it's a straightforward exercise. The handler moves away some 20 or 25 yards and then gives 6 commands to the dog. The dog has to take the positions it's told, in order.
That's the first position, which is correct. Now into the sit. This is a super little dog, Tasha, you know, Peter. She's got a hobby, you know,
What's
at
that?
home. Well, she likes fishing. She spends hours at home with her nose glued to the fish tank.
She's working too hard to have a hobby.
Well, she finds time for it.
Well, that actually was a perfect example of distant control, as we now watch Kelly.
Yeah, Heather's from
Hold
Leicester,
that.
and this is her first competitive obedience dog, and she's come from beginners to obedience champion this year in a very short time. The dog's 5 years old. Heather's a naturally good handler with a very good willing bit.
You can hear that background noise all the time. The dog has to pick out the command. It is so difficult for them.
Supreme concentration is required from both dog and handler.
And that concentration has to continue right the way until the end of the exercise, which is when the handler gets back to the dog, straddling the line.
Oh yes, the dog
Thank
isn't
you, the
allowed
test
to
is
move its
finished.
back paws over that line. It would be penalised for that. As you can see, this dog is starting behind
Hold
the
that,
line.
sir.
This is Kathy Henderson from Scotland. This bitch is 9 years old.
2, 3,
So it doesn't matter if those front paws come over the line.
No, not at all.
4, 5.
That doesn't matter, you
Last-
see. That's lovely.
Turn.
So it's like a ballet dancer centering a spin. You mustn't move.
Well, you, yeah, you could say that, Peter. That was a very good exercise
Thank
there.
you. The test is finished.
Almost all of the dogs managed the 2 stay exercises perfectly well. The one that didn't was unlucky 13. On to the scent discrimination now. Always a difficult and always a taxing test. The girl in the centre is putting down the cloth that has to be found. The judge is putting her scent onto a duplicate cloth, which she gives to the handler, who now offers it to the dog.
Yes, you can see Wimpy taking this scent. Phil's taking her time over it. Now she's going to turn the cloth round, oh dear, because her scent was on that side of the cloth.
So that
now,
will confuse her, though.
oh yeah, she's just now given the dog her scent, so she's had 2 scents to
Scent
take
dog.
there.
So when the dog gets out into the pattern there, it's not going to have a very clear idea of what scent it wants.
Well, I think personally that'll confuse the dog.
Well, this was a grave error, if error it was, because Jemima Wimpy's special with Philomena Jeffries, they were in first position. They only had lost 7 3/4 points. They were going to win the championship if they did a perfect scent. That's the wrong cloth.
Oh dear, that's the decoy.
That cost them not only the
Take
scent
it.
discrimination, it cost them the
Oh,
championship.
poor Phil, she'll be so disappointed.
Well, Phil, you look quite smiley now. You must have been absolutely devastated.
Well, it is disappointing, yes, but that's the way it goes. But
I'm sure Wimpy doesn't fail scent very often. What do you think went wrong?
just one of those things, I think. She just got a whiff of the decoy and very positively brought it in. She thought she was right, so, you know, I don't know.
I mean, did the pattern, you think, have anything to do? Was it a particularly difficult pattern?
I don't think so, not particularly. If she'd have been perhaps concentrating, she wouldn't have brought it in.
On a different day in a different place, you'd have done it easily?
That's right, yeah.
That's the luck of the draw, isn't it?
I'm afraid so, yes.
So with the leader now out of the running, this is the first of the contenders for the title. Obedience champion, Dybeck Kirsty with Maureen Alcock. They've lost 9 3/4 points before the scent. Can they do a perfect one? They will go into the lead if they do.
Well, Kirsty's going over every cloth quite methodically. She's usually a very reliable and consistent bitch when it comes to the scent exercise. I'd be very surprised if she made a mistake.
Taking her time, scenting all the cloths. It's the one in the middle there, that's the right one.
Yes, she knew that all right.
Take it. Finish. Thank you. Can you put your cloths in the box?
And Judge Paula Ackeray found enough wrong with that to fault just half a point. So it put them out of the tickets, 10 1/4 points, but they are in the lead.
Send your
Now
dog.
this pair, Heather Woodford and Kelly, could take the lead if they do a good scent. That's the right cloth. Ooh.
Well, she's just rejected it, but that doesn't mean to say she won't go back for it. There she goes. Bit of a messy pickup, actually.
Take it.
And they can afford to lose, I think,
Finish.
a whole point and still stay below 10 points.
That's correct, Peter.
Thank you.
And they did lose 1 point, but they're there in the lead and in the ticket position. There's only one other dog that could get better than them, this one.
Send your
Kathy
dog.
Henderson here with altered image.
Lainey needs a good scent here to stand any chance.
A perfect one will win them the championship outright. Half a point lost will also win them outright. And that's the right clock. Oh dear, nearly a drop.
Take
That
it.
looks crooked, actually, Peter.
Finish.
Well, it could be. And in fact, Paul Ackeray agreed with you. She docked them a point. It was a tie for first place. So they had to run off doing all the exercises except the stays and the scent again. And it all came down to this error in the send away by Laney. Out of the box, leaving Obedience champion Kirkelly of Stillash the winner. Obedience champion Altered Image of Ruscath, Laney was second. Obedience champion Dybeck Kirsty third. Heather, many congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Would it surprise you to know that Sandy Waddens tipped you as one of her 3 tips to win this today?
No, it wouldn't. Well, yes, it would surprise me, but I did read it in the magazine, but I could never have believed it
Well,
in
it was
1,000 years.
And very tight too, wasn't it? And
It was
only
very
just within championship
Yes,
class
I know.
standard.
I didn't think anybody would be in qualifying marks, to be honest with you.
Did you feel that it was a very difficult standard being set today?
I think that it was a difficult round, and Paula was marking very, very hard. And it's not the sort of round that Kelly really enjoys because it's too twisty and turny. But nevertheless,
She did you proud in the end, didn't she?
somehow we managed to do it.
Well, it
I
was
don't
very
know
tense,
how.
the run-off. Congratulations,
It was
I'm sure you're
indeed.
very happy.
I am absolutely over the moon.
A brief look now at the main contenders in the dog obedience competition. This is Forever Magic Sunday with Sylvia Bishop, always very popular competitors here at Crufts.
Yes, Sylvia has a fantastic record at Crufts. And in fact, Peter, this is her 6th obedience champion.
No, it is a marvellous record. Seems an ever-present, really. I can't remember a time when she wasn't out there on one of the days in the main ring.
Well, it just demonstrates a marvellous ability to work dogs at this standard all the time.
And the scent discrimination put them in 3rd place in the competition. Well, this is obedience champion Red Hot Toddy. Mary Ray's dog. Last year, Mary won the Obedience Championship with her bitch, Roxy. This year, what can Toddy do?
Very well, by the looks of things, Peter.
Lovely present, smashing little dog that. That put them in second place. This was the eventual winner, White Beam Rowanbury with Caroline Copnall.
That's the right one.
And this really was a remarkable victory. It was their first time ever at Crufts in individual competition, and here they are taking the supreme prize. And a very popular win it was too. So the result of the Dog Obedience Championship: in first place, White Beam Rowanbury; second place, Obedience Champion Red Hot Toddy; third place, Forever Magic Sunday.